Hello everybody and welcome back. And as you can see, this week made a little bit of a change to this whole sort of come and relax and chat with me kind of episode. Last week I had the fireplace and I really liked the fire. I'm not saying that I don't like the fire, but just wasn't very naval sort of oriented that I would have liked it to be. So, sort of thought about it a little more and decided, one of the things that a lot of us don't do is we don't really get to sail our ships around the water and just enjoy sailing it around. So decided, instead, let's just do why don't you come and sail and chat with me? And that's the motivation for this particular way of doing it. So I guess let the sound of the water calm you and let's have a conversation about stuff. So the first good piece of news from last week till now was that the Humble Bundles were awarded. So Wargaming did keep their word. So most of us who did purchase the Humble Bundle were awarded Murmansk, the 1,000 doubloons, 7 days of premium, and even the ship slots. But that whole thing, shall we say, did have a cost. Gunlion has quote-unquote left wargaming, and if I was to really think about it, I would say left is let's say not of his own will, maybe. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. I mean, it's good that we did get the bundles and we were we were given what we were promised, but to cost someone their job leaves a bit of a poor taste in my mouth. And I think that Wargaming's overall handling of the situation in terms of that particular aspect isn't something that I am too happy with, shall I say. I mean, we're all human, we all make mistakes, and maybe even the mistake wasn't Gunlion alone, but just I think a company should maybe be just a tiny bit more forgiving of things like that, and just keep their active, good community managers around, because they are the ones who build a relationship with all of us, and they communicate with us, and they make things good for the players, who are, after all, your customers. So, okay, moving on from that somewhat happy yet at the same time sort of bitter-esque kind of news. There has been a World of Warships fan site that has been established called shipcomrade.com, and there's the link in the video description below. So Shipcomrade has pretty interesting things. I mean, they've got a lot of guide videos and they've sort of all compiled them into one place. So it's definitely worth it for some of you to go and check it out, because I think they have a good site and it can only get better in the future. And I think that might be a good sort of portal for all of us who are interested in World of Warships. Now, there are two contests currently being run by Wargaming. One of them is called Shadow Ships, and the other one is called the Fireworks Contest. The Shadow Ships contest is basically if you can create, I guess, shadows, and those shadows have to somewhat look like ships. The winner apparently gets something like 3,000 doubloons and a couple of days of premium time, I think. The Fireworks contest is for everybody you sync. If you can spell out their names with the letters of the word fireworks, take a screenshot, and if you get all the letters, you get a flag pack. I feel like for some odd reason, I am going to be hunted quite a bit, as I have one of those pretty important letters in my name, but we'll have to see what happens when I get on the game today. This Sunday, I will be visiting the HMCS Haida in Hamilton, Ontario. So do expect a Know Your Ship episode sometime next week, because I'm going to be going there, and so far my idea is what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of talk about, much the same way that I did it before, which is I'll talk about, the systems on the ship, the weapon systems, and, the engines, and whatever else information I can really throw together. I'll give sort of an operational history of the tribal class destroyers, and then what I hope to do, and again, I'm not really sure if this is going to be fully doable, because I have no idea what that museum will allow me access to. But hopefully when I go on the weekend, I will be able to sort of go deck by deck. And hopefully by going deck by deck, I can give you all sort of a tour of the ship. and if you guys really like that particular thing, let me know. Also, if you have any other ideas about how I might want to structure this particular episode, you can also leave those suggestions in the comment section below, and I will be looking at them and trying to implement it, shall we say, during the next episode. One of the crazier things that has happened in the last few days is that I finally figured out that the mic I've been using actually had an extendable bit that could raise it to a more comfortable position for me. And so by doing that, it has changed sort of, a whole bunch of things, including how far the mic was from me. And so hopefully, now you're able to hear my voice a little bit more clearly than in previous videos before. A fantastic piece of news to share with all of you is that we have reached over 18,000 subscribers on this channel, so that there are now, over 18,000 of you in this fleet, and I just want to thank you all so much for your incredible support. It really just makes me feel so loved, and it allows me to keep doing what I'm doing. Now, there is one thing I want to say, which is I'm not really that great with these, sort of extravagant thank you messages. It's just not really me so much. But, just so all of you know, I am very grateful for all the support. And hopefully when we hit our next milestone, which should be in the range of around 25,000. I think that's what I've set the next milestone for. If we get to 25,000, do expect another giveaway, and of course, I like to give away physical items, so do expect things like maybe a mice or headsets or keyboards, or whatever else at that time I find that I want to give away. So do hang around, everybody, because when that time comes, the giveaway will be completely awesome. And so I think that pretty much sums it up for all the things I wanted to talk about in terms of the news that's happened on World of Warships, or just other things that affect me. So let's go ahead and answer some of the questions that people have asked from the last episode a week ago. So let's take a look at these questions, and of course, if you have questions, please leave them in the video description below, because I will get ahead to answering them during the next episode. Oh yeah, and of course, if you like this format over the fireplace, or if you like the fireplace over this format, also let me know in the comment section below so I can figure out what I can do in the future. And today's first comment comes from Derpy, who basically wrote, "I didn't expect that music for this," and I think he was talking about the music I used in the intro. So for those of you who are wondering what particular piece of music that is, the title of the song is actually called "If I Had a Chicken." Yeah, if you're wondering why I picked the music, I was just looking for something that I thought was kind of relaxing, kind of upbeat, kind of, a little bit lighthearted, and I was sort of looking through like a music database or something. I'm listening to the sample songs, and this one just kind of caught my ear. So there you go. That's what I decided to pick for the intro. Truthfully, chickens have nothing to do with this. At least I hope not. This next question comes in from Shu, and Shu is asking me if I have any methods to deal with the millions of fighter scouts that are currently carried by cruisers. Because Shu is in a Hear You and is feeling really helpless because his planes are probably getting a little bit decimated by these fighter scouts, but opting to get more fighters himself seems to decrease his damage ability a lot, and so he's wondering if there's any suggestions I can give to him. Well, Shu, I have to tell you that the fighter scouts, I think, first of all, are a really stupid idea by Wargaming. Cruisers were powerful enough, and extraordinarily powerful, mind you, with their area barrage ability, that they really didn't need an additional weapon, shall we say, against planes. The fighter scout are realistically a very poorly thought out decision. However, I can offer you a tiny bit of a suggestion on how to deal with them. I think first of all you have to understand how the fighter scouts function. What they do is they fly circles around the cruiser, and the circles, I guess it's a pretty big circle, and as they fly around the circle, if they run into something that is within their attack range, they will automatically engage. So to deal with the fighter scouts, the best thing to do is not to fight them at all, because fighting them with your planes seems to be a really poor idea. Yesterday I lost an entire USN fighter squadron to one fighter scout plus a little bit of AA from its cruiser. So that was a little bit of a shocking result for me. I was playing going, whoa, what just happened there? But I think the best way to fight them is simply not to fight them at all and simply wait for the planes to fly away. They are quite fast, so they kind of do their little lap around the cruiser. Wait for them to pull away from the vector that you're attacking from. Wait for them to get way outside of their attack range and then attack then. So you're really having to look, shall we say, for holes where the fighter scouts aren't covering and using those holes to actively attack something. Right now, personal opinion wise, I think attacking cruisers isn't exactly the best idea. So really try to look for isolated battleships or isolated ships. Don't go into a mob of things because most of your planes are going to get decimated before you can actually do anything, with a combination of both the barrage AA ability and also these fighter scouts. So sort of try to pick off loners, battleships that sail off by themselves, or just lone ships. Try to take them down. I think that's probably the best way. Carriers are in a rough place right now. Hopefully in the next couple of patches things will get fixed, but with wargaming there is never any guarantee for something like that to happen. Elvin wants to know about my opinion on the current nerfs to the destroyers and how it affects both the USN and Japanese destroyers. Well, Elvin, I think the only major nerf that has occurred for destroyers is the smoke duration as well as the amount of smoke that a destroyer has. And truth be told, I think that was a necessary change. During the closed beta stages, I think smoke was just a little bit excessive. I mean, you're having destroyers, especially some of the higher tier destroyers, do nothing but just sit in their smoke and spam shells at people, and that's all they did because the smoke was just constantly able to be put out again, put out again, put out again. So I actually think the change is actually quite good. Now, how it affects the current ships in the game, now that's an interesting question, because I think the smoke nerf hurts the USN destroyers way more than the Japanese destroyers. The Japanese destroyers, which had let's say their stealth to sort of go back on, and the smoke was merely kind of a backup system, if you can think about it that way, is that when your stealth kind of failed and you got detected, you can use the smoke to retreat. So I don't think the Japanese destroyers have been hurt so much by this particular smoke nerf, because you can simply just go back to using your high stealth, especially now that the Japanese destroyers also get to equip camouflage, so that gives them some extra stealth. So at the lower tiers even, the destroyers are quite oftentimes, up to a pretty close distance, invisible. Where I think the destroyers suffer the most amount of pain would be the American destroyers. The US destroyers, which do not have the stealth rating of the Japanese destroyers, used to kind of depend on their smoke to help them out, and I think with the smoke nerf it does hurt the USN destroyers. But at the same time, I think it also changes the role for the US destroyers to, being, instead of in the past where they were just able to use their smoke, spam it, and just go and do whatever they want. I think it causes the USN destroyers to now get turned into more of a destroyer hunter. So if the Japanese destroyers are using their high stealth to sneak into range, the USN destroyers, let's say that are screening the fleet, would now be able to drive off those Japanese destroyers. I think that's the point and purpose now, primarily of the USN destroyers, along with the ability to ambush stuff around islands and narrow straits. I think that the smoke nerf isn't great for the USN destroyers, but I still think that destroyers are playable. So Elvin, I definitely say, give it a shot, try it out. If you're really worried about playability, try the Japanese ones first. If you find the Japanese destroyers to be quite good still, then go ahead and try the US ones and see how you do. I mean, I've been playing my Grem, which has sort of US levels of detectability, and I haven't really suffered as much in this particular patch with the smoke nerf. To me, it's still okay. But, it really has to be up to you to go ahead and try it out to see how it goes. Moving on to Tom's comment from last week's video, which was him telling me that I should just show gameplay or battles or things like that, and, not show just fire. Tom, I did make a little bit of a change, but I'm still not doing any battles. The purpose of these videos is just to relax, to chill, to hang out a little bit and to mostly just have a conversation between, me and you. And so, that's why I've decided to offer a non-battle oriented environment and something just a little bit relaxing, because truth be told, I get stressed enough with the battles that I have to play and some of the people that do stupid things, and I've on occasion had some choice words for those people in chat. And so this is a way for, I think, a lot of us just to sort of sit back, relax, kick back, have a beer, or in my case, just have a bottle of water or something, just have a fun, relaxing, calm environment to go to. And so, I'm sorry that I wasn't able to satisfy you with what you want, but that sometimes is life. I can't satisfy everybody, and I try my best to satisfy the majority, but on occasion there's not much I can do for individual wants and needs. And I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to keep the format of the episode kind of the way I have it right now. And the very last comment for the week comes from Tiger2, who says, "I've got a cute voice." Well, thank you, Tiger. Never really thought about it that way, but it's good to hear that. Yeah, that's actually really, really good to hear. Thank you so much for sending that one in. And that pretty much brings us to the end of this episode. If you've got any questions that you want me to answer in the next episode, please leave them in the comment section below. If you've got answers to some of the questions I've asked, please do the same thing. Leave them in the comment section below. Aside from all that, hope you had a good trip sailing around with me today in my Cleveland on the Fault Lines map, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all again next week.